Have you ever thought about why footprinting holds such a crucial role in the world of hacking? Imagine a cat burglar planning a heist. They don't just dive in, right? They gather information, study the target, understand the patterns. Similarly, in the digital world, footprinting is that vital reconnaissance phase. Footprinting is the first step in any hacking or penetration testing scenario. It's the process of collecting as much information as possible about a target system or network. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, where every piece of information is a puzzle piece that helps form a complete picture of the target. Why is footprinting so critical? It allows hackers to understand the target's weak spots and vulnerabilities, making the subsequent steps of hacking more efficient and effective. Footprinting is not just about gathering information, it's about understanding the target inside out. Now that we understand the importance of footprinting, let's break down the methodology. The footprinting methodology is a systematic approach that hackers use to gather valuable information. This process, often likened to a detective collecting clues, is a crucial first step for anyone looking to understand a system's vulnerabilities. Today, we'll delve into the first two steps of the footprinting methodology: gathering public information and network enumeration. Our first stop is gathering public information. Think of it as doing some harmless online stalking. In this step, hackers collect as much publicly available data as they can. They might look at domain names, mail servers, or any other bits of data that can be gleaned from the internet. This isn't about breaking into systems or exploiting vulnerabilities. It's about understanding the target. It's about knowing what systems they use, what software they rely on, and how their digital world is structured. The data gathered here can be surprisingly revealing. For instance, knowing a company's domain name can lead to discovering their IP address. And once a hacker knows the IP address, they can start to understand the network's layout and where potential weaknesses might be. This leads us to our second step: network enumeration. This is the process of identifying active hosts within a network, their IP addresses, and associated network blocks. By doing this, a hacker can start to understand how a network is structured, what systems are in place, and where the most valuable data might be stored. It's a bit like a burglar scoping out a neighborhood before choosing a house to rob. They want to know which houses have alarms, which have big dogs, and which are left empty during the day. In the same way, a hacker wants to know which systems are heavily defended, which are neglected, and which contain the data they're after. With these initial steps, a hacker starts to paint a picture of the target's digital landscape. They begin to understand the lay of the land, to see the weak points and the strongholds. They're not ready to launch an attack just yet, but they're certainly getting closer. Remember, knowledge is power, and in the digital world, that power can be used for both good and ill. Building on the foundation we laid, let's delve deeper into the footprinting methodology. The next steps in this process are as critical as the initial ones, and they involve scanning and operating system fingerprinting. Let's first talk about scanning. Scanning is a broad term in this context, but two main types are critical for footprinting: port scanning and vulnerability scanning. Port scanning is like a burglar checking for unlocked doors in a building. It involves examining the target system for open ports, which are essentially doorways to data communication. Each port can be associated with a specific service or application, and an open port might indicate a potential entry point for an attacker. On the other hand, vulnerability scanning is about finding weak spots in the system's security. It's like finding a weak brick in a wall. This type of scanning uses software tools to automate the process of checking for known security issues, such as outdated software or incorrectly configured settings. The results can provide a hacker with a list of potential areas to exploit. Now let's move on to the second key step: operating system fingerprinting. This is the process of identifying the operating system of the target. Why is this important? Well, every operating system has its unique characteristics and vulnerabilities. Knowing the type of operating system can help a hacker tailor their strategies accordingly. For instance, the hacker might use different tools or methods if the target runs on Windows compared to Linux or macOS. Techniques for operating system fingerprinting can range from simple observations, like how the system responds to certain commands, to more complex methods involving detailed analysis of data packets. In summary, these steps of the footprinting methodology scanning, and operating system fingerprinting are about gathering more detailed information about the target. The goal is to uncover as much as possible about the target's vulnerabilities and potential weak spots. With this information in hand, a hacker can plan and execute their attack more effectively. These steps provide the hacker with more in-depth knowledge about the target's vulnerabilities and potential weak spots. Finally, we reach the last steps of our footprinting journey. Our collected data is now ready to be transformed into a visual representation, a network diagram. This diagram is a hacker's map, detailing the target's network layout, hardware, and software. It's a complete overview of the virtual landscape they aim to navigate. Then comes the crucial stage of creating a footprinting report. This isn't a simple summary. It's a comprehensive document that details every discovery made during the footprinting process. It includes the IP addresses found, domain names, network blocks, and even the specific versions of software being used by the target. This report is a hacker's guidebook, providing them with the knowledge they need to plan their next move. It's the culmination of all their hard work in the footprinting phase and sets the stage for the exciting challenges to come. These steps complete the hacker's preliminary investigation of the target. Footprinting, as we've seen, is an integral part of hacking. It's the initial phase where we gather as much information as possible about our target. This reconnaissance step is like doing detective work. It's all about understanding the landscape. We've explored the footprinting methodology in depth, breaking it down into 3 main parts. In the first part, we focused on active and passive methods of data collection. The second part took us deeper into the tools and techniques used for data gathering, while the third part highlighted how to analyze and utilize this information. Each step is crucial to the success of a hacking or penetration testing operation. Missing out on any of these could lead to ineffective strategies and potentially unsuccessful attempts. Remember, effective footprinting can be the difference between a successful operation and a failed attempt. So, always take the time to do your homework.